Hey guys, it's Fusion What Ifs here, and today I'm gonna be doing What If Deku Had Overhaul Part 2. So before I get into it, I want to thank you guys so much for watching the first part. It has almost as many views as my second ever video on the channel. So yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, without further ado, play my intro. Now that's done, let's get straight into the story. So we start off with Deku preparing to get ready to school. Aizawa already went there early to get the desks prepared and all that. So while Deku's walking, he bumps into Uraraka. Yes, Uraraka. They talk a bit and they get to class in at the same time. They walk in to see Bakugo and Lita arguing, and they walk in to see Bakugo and Ida arguing. Bakugo is putting his feet on the desk, and Ida's being, because he has a stick up his ass, he cares about it. So yeah. Now they walk in. Ida runs up to Deku and says, "I'm so sorry for my behavior at the entrance exam. You're a better student than I am, and how did you know about the extra point system?" And Deku replies saying that he didn't know about it, he just helped her because that's what a hero does. And Lita's standing of Deku increased, but they're not gonna be friends because I don't want him to be friends with Ida. He's too much of a stick. He has too much of a stick up his ass. I'm surprised that I can't see it out of his mouth. So yeah, Aizawa comes up with a sweet sleeping bag. Everyone is wondering who this is except for Deku. He's like, "Oh god." And then Aizawa says, "It took you 8 seconds to shut up and sit down. That's not gonna work. So I need you guys to put your gym clothes on and get outside." Someone raises their hand and asks, "Don't we have an orientation today?" And Aizawa says, "Why do you need to go to something useless like that? That's not gonna make us heroes." So yeah, Deku puts his gym clothes on and he goes outside. I'ma say that he's allowed to wear a jacket over his gym clothes. So yeah, he wears a jacket over his gym clothes, and Lita doesn't bother him about it because Lita knows for a fact that he shouldn't, because last time he touched him, he got his butt handed to him. So yeah. All the other students are wondering why Izuku has a jacket on. A girl with pink skin and antennas out of her head asks, "Hey, why does that kid get to wear a jacket over his gym clothes?" And Aizawa says, "Oh, it's because he's a special case. His quirk works on contact, and his quirk is quite destructive if you actually think about it." So yeah. They're all wondering what his quirk is, except for Uraraka and Ida and Bakugo, because Bakugo's personally experienced the quirk. Uraraka got saved by him, and Ida got all of the bone in his right hand snapped to pieces. So yeah. Wait, what else was I gonna say? Yeah. Yeah. So we start off with the ball throw. Aizawa looks at the students and then he singles out Izuku by saying, "Izuku, you're the one who got the highest score in the whole entrance exam, and probably in the history of UA. How far could you throw the ball in middle school without using your quirk?" He said something around 110. Aizawa isn't surprised. He's glad because Aizawa has been training Izuku so that he's not weak physically. So yeah. Um, what now? So Izuku goes up. He takes off his gloves. Then he touches the ball. While he touches the ball, he removes some of the matter out of it. So he rearranges it, and there's this smaller ball that's there. He disintegrates that into dust because it's not needed. Then he lightly throws the ball up. He throws the ball into the air with all of his force, and it goes pretty far. I would say about 450. Then he kneels and then slams his hand on the ground. As soon as he slams his hand on the ground, a small spike shoots up from the ground at ungodly speeds, and as soon as it makes contact with the ball goes flying. Aizawa checks it to see a good 2,250 meters, and everyone's surprised. Like, dang, they all think that his quirk is like earth manipulation because, he just shot a spike. And yeah. We go off the rest of them. Izuku gets first on almost everything except for the grip strength. He gets third in that one, and the 50-meter dash, he gets second behind Ida, and also the ball throw because Iraqi can go to infinity. So yeah. Izuku's the first name up there is Izuku Aizawa. The second goes to Shoto, Bakugo, then I'm pretty sure it was like Ida. Yeah, sorry for that random cut. That was like for no reason. I'm sorry, guys. Technically wasting your time here. So where did I leave off? Batman. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a bit dazed. I'm playing the game right now, and I'm not exactly focused on the what if. So I'm pretty sure I left off at the numbers system, like who got first and who got last. Aizawa did say the person who got last would be expelled, but he said that was logical ruse. And as soon as everyone sees Izuku's last name, they're like, "Wait, Aizawa, is this your son?" Like a pink skinned girl asks that, and we know that she's Mina. So Aizawa says, "Yeah, he's my son." And then before anyone could say anything, Bakugo says that he's adopted, and Deku's like, "Yeah, I am." And everyone's like, "Oh, okay." So, that happens. He goes in. Deku talks to Todoroki because he thinks that Todoroki has a cool quirk from what he's seen. I'm going to say that Deku has some sort of... he can feel quirk energy. Like, I'm going to say that the way that Overhaul fuses with people is by fusing their body and fusing their quirk energy together so that he can also use that quirk when they fuse. So Izuku does that, and yeah, Izuku can sense that Todoroki has ice, and also you can sense a bit of fire. The reason why you sense a bit of fire is because Todoroki's fire is very, very and much weaker than his ice, so his ice is kind of overpowering it. So he walks with Todoroki, and they talk for a bit. Todoroki opens up a bit more because Deku is just talking to him. He's not gonna be as cold, and they're gonna be decent friends. So Deku's gonna talk to him. Yeah, he's also gonna talk to Denki because he thinks that Denki is cool, and he's gonna help Denki get over his slightly perverted attitude. He can be fixed. But as soon as he gets to Mineta, he just doesn't even bother. He just walks away, disgusted, and yeah. As he's walking away, so yeah, he walks away. They talk for a bit. Then the first day's over. They all go home. Deku walks Uraraka home. The shipping is gonna be generic Deku and Uraraka because no one picked a ship. So yeah. Since no one picked the ship, I'm just gonna go generic. The ship could change depending on whether or not people comment the ship or not. So yeah. And Deku walks Uraraka home. Uraraka hugs him, and Deku blushes a bit because he's not really used to girls. Yeah, he was kind of popular in middle school. Girls liked him, but he didn't really talk back, and the girls were fine with that. So, yeah. So, wait. Yeah, and then he walks home. Aizawa asks why he's home late, and Izuku just says that he was, what was it called? He was taking home a girl, and yeah. He says I was taking Uraraka, and that happens. I'm sorry, I just paused the game and listened to you. I actually do the what if now. So, yeah. After that, they go in the next day. Then, for last class, it's Hero Rogues 101. And all my walks through the door saying, I'm walking through the door like a normal person. Everyone's stoked to see All Might except for Izuku, because he's already met All Might before. I'm gonna say Todoroki because he's also met All Might before. So yeah, So Izuku gets ready because All Might told him they're gonna have to be doing battle training, and Izuku and Makuo are stoked about this. So yeah. What now? Yeah, he gets ready. His hero costume is gonna be kind of like the one you see on screen, kind of like Shisaki's. His is going to be, instead of having the beak mask, he's just gonna have a regular mask. He's gonna have the the same jacket, except without the fluff on it, and everything's the same except there's no beak mask. It's just a regular face mask, and there's no pink fluff. So yeah, he walks outside. Everyone says that he has a pretty cool hero costume, and they get started. So Izuku's paired up with Uraraka, generic. There's no reason to change it. So yeah, he's paired up with Uraraka, and they both they both decide that Deku's gonna go in, distract Bakugo while she go gets the bomb. He gets the second floor. Actually, they changed the plan. They're gonna go in through the roof. So Deku slams down on the ground, and a giant pillar below them starts to rise up and takes them all the way to the top of the building. As soon as they get to the top, Izuku touches the pillar again, and it disintegrates. Yeah. So they go in, and they go into the top, and he tells Uraraka to go to the room next to the bomb, and that he'll open a hole through it, and he'll take care of Bakugo while he tries to sneak up and get the bomb. So while she's in the next room, there's a hole there. She's waiting for a good opportunity to go get the bomb, and Izuku runs into Bakugo. Bakugo's saying, "Damn nerd, how did you get up from here?" And then he says, "Easy, I just used my quirk." And Bakugo's pissed because he said it in a monotone voice, and Bakugo thinks that he's better than he is, when he actually is. So yeah. Bakugo shoots an explosion. Deku just taps the wall, and some of it comes out and blocks the explosion. Easy. Bakugo then goes up to and starts trying to explode Deku. Deku's dodging and he's counterattacking. So whenever Bakugo does an explosion, he dodges and then he attacks back. So yeah, he dodges and he attacks back. After he does that, After he does that, Bakugo's gauntlets get charged up, and he shoots the gauntlets at Izuku, All Might yelling at him that no, he will kill him, and he doesn't listen. He says he'll be fine if he dodges, right? And he still shoots the explosion, right? The explosion hits Deku, and it hits Deku hard. At this point, he's lost his left arm. His ribs are exposed. His left leg is battered and bloody. And his left eye is non-existent. Bakugo's there looking he looks in horrified of what he just did. And All Might's about to walk in before Deku tells him, "No, I got this." And he touches himself, and Izuku turns into a swirl, his whole body starts to disintegrate into particles swirling around. Then he comes back completely unscathed but breathing heavily, because if Bakugo had killed him there, he wouldn't have made it out of this alive. So yeah. And Bakugo's there terrified because Izuku technically just came back from the dead. Or, he should be dead, considering he lost his left arm, his left leg, and his eye. So yeah. And Izuku right now is enraged a bit. So he accidentally uses his quirk with his eyes for the first time in his life. So he glares at Bakugo's right. His eyes glow a bright... What color should it glow? His eyes grow a bright gold color. And when this happens, Bakugo falls to the ground screaming because Deku just broke all of his bones. Instead of, he has control over all matter. So unlike his brother, who is just able to destroy and rearrange things, he has control over all matter. So he technically just, broke all of his bones in his body. Right now he's in so much pain that he passes out. Deku tapes him, then he fixes all of his bones. And while this was happening, he walks in through the door. Ida comes rushing at him, and that was the plan. So while Ida is rushing at him, Uraraka jumps out, gets through the hole, grabs the bomb, and All Might announces saying, "Hero team wins." And, they walk back. Bakugo's taken to the infirmary, and All Might is gonna talk to him about what he just did. because if Izuku didn't have all overhaul right there, he would be in jail for, murder. So yeah. Everyone asks if he's okay. He says that he's fine. Shoto says, "Man, he's such a dick," and then Deku says, "Yeah, but he's still my childhood friend." So that happens, and what now? I have time. Why not? So this video might be a bit longer than usual because I'm gonna do the USJ. So we start off the next day. A week after, Aizawa told Bakugo about his Bakugo's getting some kind of detention for attempted murder. So, and he also tells Bakugo to stop acting like a kid who didn't get any candy. So yeah, he tells him about the USJ and that they're gonna be going in a few weeks. So yeah. They get on the bus, and then Sue talks to Deku saying, "You know that I'm blunt with questions, right?" And then Izuku nods, and then Sue asks, "What's your quirk?" And Izuku replies saying, "Overhaul." And then they ask, "What's that?" And he says, "Control over all matter." And then he says that he wears these gloves because his quirk works on contact, and if he's not careful, he could accidentally kill someone. And they ask how, and then I'ma say that Izuku brought a pen. So he shows them a pen, right? He takes off his glove and then he taps the pen with his pinky. The pen turns into dust, and everyone's amazed, and some are a bit terrified, like Mineta. And people are like, "Wait, but then how did you?" And then he says, "I'm getting to that." So he taps the pen again, and then it reforms, and then everyone's like, "Oh, control over all matter." And then he says, "Yeah, so technically I can technically destroy anything and bring back anything." Remember when in the Hero vs Villains, Bakugo suddenly fell down screaming, then he fainted? They all nod their heads. Izuku then says, "That was because I used my quirk with my sight." And then he says, "For the first time in a while, my quirk evolved that time so I could use it on sight because of how much rage I was feeling. So I used my quirk, with eye contact with Bakugo, and then I broke all of the bones in his body under all amazed." And he said that after he fainted, he fixed all of them. So they didn't really know what happened to Bakugo. And when Deku's finished the explanation, they get to the USJ. They walk in. 13 explains how dangerous quirks can be. Deku takes this to heart because he knows how dangerous his quirk could be. So yeah, while this is happening, Shigaraki walks in, and this time he's gonna have two objectives. He walks in saying, "Where's All Might?" And then Shigaraki says, "I don't know, apparently he's not here." And he's like, "Oh, okay." Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the what was it called? The cafeteria and the alarm thing still happened. Izuku stopped it. Izuku's also class president while Momo's vice president, and yeah, I need to get that out the way because I realized that if I didn't explain that, you would be asking how Shigaraki got here, because he got here through stealing the schedule. So yeah. And then he says, "Oh, it's fine. At least when our targets are here." And then he points directly at Deku. Deku's confused, and so is the whole class. And they can hear him, so he's saying, wait, why am I target? And then he says, oh, you don't know. It's because of your brother. And Deku's like, my brother's long dead. Or at least I think he is. And then Shigaraki says, you have no idea who he is. And then he says that he's gonna use him for ransom because his brother is someone named Overhaul, and people currently don't know that name. They're gonna know it in like a few months, so they're like, Overhaul, who's that? And Deku, he keeps that in his back of the head, and he says, Thank you for telling sorry. Thank you for telling my brother's name, or his Alice's. But you're still not gonna get me. Aizawa jumps down and starts taking out the villains. Then Deku also jumps down. Aizawa told 13 to take care of the villains, and right now him and Izuku are beating them. So it's like Izuku and Aizawa versus all the villains. They're kicking butt. Shigaraki gets past. He teleports all of them away. Sue gets out this time because Mineta still threw his balls, the ball on his head. Don't demonetize me. The balls on his head into the water, and the dumb villains ran into them. So yeah, he jumped off the boat. Everyone else is fine. Then Shigaraki scratching his head furiously. He's like, ugh, okay, bring out the Nomu. And the Nomu walks through the portal. This big black, God, don't do this to me. This creature who has a beak face and has this weird black skin. Dang it, I'm so gonna get owned. Oh, God. So yeah, he walks through. He's at like the height of All Might. The people are terrified, except for Deku. He just launches a spike through it. The spike goes through it, and he thinks that finished, we've won. And then it starts to regenerate, and he's like, and then Nomu said, and then he tells Nomu, get the kid. And yeah, Nomu rushes in, but before he does, Aizawa tries to stop the Nomu. But the Nomu, just beats Aizawa, snaps his arm, and through this, Izuku feels immense rage because he just snapped the arm of his adopted father. So Izuku's eyes glow a bright gold, and this is a very, very bright gold. It's like looking into an LED light, and he stares directly into the Nomu. The Nomu starts to crumble into pieces. And Izuku faints because, like I said, he's not ready to hold that much power yet. Even if his body is ready, he himself is not used to it. So his eyes are lighting up, and then he falls to the ground, he faints. But before he does, he fixes Aizawa's arm. Yeah. And Shigaraki scratching says saying, you cheated. And then Shigaraki, he said, isn't supposed to kill All Might. And then Shigaraki says, no, the kid's unconscious, let's just grab the kid. Before he could grab the kid, All Might walks through the door saying, never fear, for I am here. Because Ida still got through, and he went to go get the pro heroes. So yeah, he rushes down, he punches Shigaraki. Kurogiri's like, All Might's here. Nah, I'm not doing this no more. So, he dips with Shigaraki, and they're out of there. Everyone's worried for Izuku because Izuku's, fainted on the ground. He's a bit scattered, like he has a bit of scrapes and bruises, everywhere, but he's fine. He goes to Recovery Girl. Recovery Girl wakes him up because Recovery Girl knows that if he accidentally touches Deku while he's sleeping, she could accidentally turn to dust. So he just wakes him up with a stick, and Yugu wakes up. He fixes himself, I'm gonna say that Uraraka is there with him, laying on his leg. She was there with him the whole time. Wherever he goes says, young love. Izuku starts to get flustered and blushes a bit. And yeah, he wakes Uraraka up. He takes her home. He goes home. And yeah, the next day, Aizawa tells him they're going to be doing the first festival in a few weeks, so they have a few weeks off. Izuku trains for the few weeks to be able to use his quirk with just sight now. And he's also training on how to fuse things with his body. So that he can touch the ground and he can rearrange the ground around it to start to form around his hands. So sort of a gauntlet, a stone gauntlet. So he's been working on that. He's been working on how to use his quirk with his eyes and also to upgrade his sensing ability. So yeah. And that's it. The source tool is going to be in the next video. This one's going to be longer than usual. So yeah. And hope you guys enjoyed. And peace out.